right, so what I have pulled up here is my Unit 2 plans from last year. Um, Unit 1 was Georgia's geography and physical features and climate. So this was our first historical based unit. The unit title is American Indians and European Exploration. And as you can see, it's guided by this content standard here. To evaluate the impact of European exploration and settlement on American Indians in Georgia. And so underneath, you have three substandards that are a little more specific in terms of like actual content that they need to know. Um, then I actually what I did is I went to the Georgia Standards of Excellence website and I went to they're not called frameworks anymore, but they're resources, and they actually have built units for the eighth grade social studies, and I stole a lot of things from there, like the introduction here, as well as the essential questions and themes and things. So as you can see, I have my enduring understandings here. Um, the enduring understandings are about conflict and change, individual groups and institutions, and movement and migration. These three enduring understandings are a part of the Georgia Standards of Excellence, so I didn't personally come up with them, but they are very broad and transferable in a sense. Um, then we get a little more uh, narrow here with the essential questions. We have how can conflict cause change that is both beneficial and harmful to society, and then you have even more narrow focus here. Um, but then I go in and I put these instructional strategies. I don't even know. Um, I mean, they're not like they're not lesson plans or anything like that. They're just a list of things that I was doing throughout the unit. Um, and then I have some higher order thinking skills here, which is required to be put in by my administration. Then I have the differentiation from the unit as well as some technology, how I'm embedding technology. And then I have at the very end is where I have my assessment and data, which is how I have been framing my units, how I've been designing my curriculum, is by putting the end at the end, which is something I don't want to do anymore. I want to start focusing on putting the end at the beginning so I can have that end in mind. Now, if I go back up here to look at the learning outcomes, what students are to know, do, and understand. That's hard. I would say it's not clear here. I do have the understandings here, but to be honest with you, I kind of just put them down on the unit plans and I didn't really revisit them throughout the assessment. These definitely were not assessed. And they really weren't embedded much in the lesson plans either, which is very embarrassing to go back and look on. So that's what I have as understandings. Did it come out that way? No. This is what they need to know. So that's pretty clear here. I could break down the content standard more in terms of, really breaking it down with the design that Dr. Murphy had mentioned with the K, knowing, understanding, and doing. I don't have anything that the students are doing. I have no skill set in here. So that is definitely a negative aspect. If I go back down to my assessments, let's see, and we look at the summative assessment, I have a test. So this is not ideal. It is not, it may be testing the content knowledge, but it's not assessing those understandings. there was an essay in there, which we did um, maybe harp on those understandings just a little bit. But then again, it wasn't a focus of the unit, which is something I want to start doing. Let's see. So there's definitely, if we look at the formative assessments, we have a quiz, we have analysis of primary sources, a document-based question. So it was 6 different primary sources, and what we did is we based it off of this essential question here. How can conflict cause change that is both beneficial and harmful to society? Students then had to use those primary sources to answer that question. However, that was really the only assignment that we did based on that understanding and that question, and we did not assess it. So I do have some, I don't even really have, let's see, instructional tasks. I just kind of have really just a list of instructional strategies. So I don't even have tasks in here, which obviously I have the tasks in my individual lesson plans, but this unit plan I do not. This is just something that I sent to my administration, I guess kind of to satisfy them. So to look at the last question, are these activities that do not directly align? Let's see. Okay, so again, this is not ideal. And what I want to go to is I pulled up this Understanding by Design template, which I actually accessed from the McTeague and Associates Consulting website. And I know it's a legit template because I was shared this template about a year ago by Dr. Hillary Hughes when I was in her curriculum class last summer. So based off of this unit, I did not plan my unit very well. And I want to start moving towards that backward design, where I have those transferable skills, which I would say goes along with the enduring understandings and themes that I have here. But again, I kind of just slapped them up there. I didn't really use them to guide my lesson planning. I didn't use them to guide my assessment, which is the whole idea of backward design, is to be able to use that transfer, those understandings, essential questions, and what students will know and be able to do to guide that assessment and learning plan. So my goal this year is to start putting units into these templates and actually using them to guide the curriculum instead of, just slapping it down for the purposes of my administration. So I want to make sure that I did not leave out anything. But basically, this is crap. Excuse my language, but I mean, this unit plan was just something that, my administration said, you need to have the content standards, you need to have some type of essential question, you need to have the instructional strategies and differentiation and assessment on there, as well as data. I did that. I sent it to them. Did I ever really come back and look at this? No, I did not. So what I need to do in the future is I really need to, again, start planning these units with the end in mind, and using this to guide what I'm going to be doing with my students so that their learning is not in a vacuum, and it's not something that they're going to lose once they step outside of my classroom and move on to, bigger and better things. I want them to be able to use these skills to truly understand, when there's conflict between societies, change is the result. And understand that the actions of groups and institutions affect society through intended and unintended consequences. And I want them to be able to use this knowledge to apply it to different areas of their life. And again, I have no skills here, so I'm actually very embarrassed by this unit plan. But I'm hopeful, I think is the word, to use this template in the future. And I know that understanding by design can't necessarily be restricted to a template, but I think this is going to be the first step for me, and to really embrace it and work hard on these units, because it is the kids' future that's at stake. So, yeah. So let me go back and make sure I'm not missing anything here, in terms of what is being asked. Okay, so that's that. That was my unit plan, and I'm thinking for my action plan that I'm going to turn one of these unit plans into an actual understanding by design unit. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to employing this into my teaching in next year.